All right, we are ready for our live hike up the castle trails. It's about a half mile. We've got a starting point by the Saratoga cabins, which are having some work done this year. And we got a tree down from this winter that we got to get over, but we are on our way. Hi guys, hi Quentin. So I'm Hannah, for those who don't know me. I am hiking to the castle today. It is cold and windy. I think it's under 40 degrees, but I think we've got some snow coming possibly tonight, and maybe even, I don't know, across the whole eastern part of the U.S. I think we're getting this weird last winter storm, but today it's still good enough to hike to the castle. It's a half-mile trail. We're going to see what it looks like in the spring. I think without all the leaves on the trees, we may be able to even see more of the castle than we usually do. We're also taking the time to check the trail to see if we saw that tree that was down at the very beginning, but we're going to see if there's any other trees that are down on the trail up to the castle. Now, the castle isn't actually on Skye Farm property. Fun fact. It is owned by the Tucker family, who are neighbors and friends of Skye Farm. And for years and years and years, I think they bought it in like the 60s. And campers from Skye Farm have been, meets the creek. A little bit more water than in the summer. But since the 60s, campers have been able to hike up to the castle from Skye Farm, as well as other folks from around the lake to check it out. It's a nice little partnership we've got with our neighbors there. So it's a good first hike, I think, for a lot of our campers. It's just a half mile up, not too steep, exciting thing at the end. Stories to tell about it. It's a great first hike. We've got a variety of different trail markers around the site, but the ones for the castle are blue. One of the early times that I hiked to the castle as a little kid, because I was a camper and staff kid myself, I remember learning the song that gets on everyone's nerves. That was part of my hike to the castle. I know a song that gets on everybody's nerves, everybody's nerves, everybody's nerves. I know a song that gets on everybody's nerves, and this is how it goes. Then you sing it again and again and again. We sang that the entire way to the castle and back. Pretty sure the counselor that was with us loved that. Now it does look like someone's been through here, maybe on a four-wheeler. I think some of the neighbors may have already come up to check for trees and such, which is great. Means I don't need to be clearing any more trails. We've got our work cut out for us in some other corners of camp. It's a bit of a rough winter. I believe we're almost to the best landmark on any Skye Farm trail, a very distinctive rock. that one. That's also a big rock, but you know it when you see it. Now we're not even up to the castle yet, but just being in the woods in the springtime, stuff really does feel more open. There's a lot less foliage around. You can even see, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but you can kind of see the outlines of the mountains beyond where we are in the woods, which you definitely can't normally see during the summertime. Oh, we do have a tree down. Look at that. I'll have to get out here with the chainsaw later. But here we are at our big landmark. Now, this is not exactly controversial, but there is some disagreement as to what this rock is called. I grew up calling this the Whale Rock, because it kind of looks like a whale peeking its head out of the ocean. Other people say it definitely looks more like a turtle and call it Turtle Rock. I think either way, it looks like we woke something up from a nap and it's kind of annoyed about it. But it's a great place to stop or take a group photo or whatever it is before the last climb up to the castle starts to get steeper from here on out. And I know this section can be slippery when it's wet, but luckily we haven't had too much rain in the past couple days. And I will be checking for ticks after this hike. Believe it or not, ticks come out at 36 degrees Fahrenheit. So even when it's cold and windy and still kind of winter, if you're outside in the woods, you still definitely want to be checking for ticks, just like we do in the summertime. We've got another tree sort of across the trail. That should be an easy one to move, though. This is a good spot for the view I was talking about. You can see all the way out to the mountains. It's pretty great. Be even nicer on a sunny day, but we got what we got. All right, we've got the first glimpse of the castle. Fantastic. It's always a little exciting and creepy every time you come up here, even if you've been here 100 times like I have. There we are at the castle. Please excuse me catching my breath. Now it is a very old structure, and so we don't go inside of it anymore, although people did for years and years. We don't want anybody getting hurt, including me, even when I'm up here by myself, on any of the loose rocks or pieces of the castle. This is what I'm talking about, falling apart, but still lots of very exciting ruins to look at. The big center chimney is one of the tallest things that's still left standing. So cool with all the moss and ferns and things that are growing on everything. Starting to look green again in April. Now, let's see if I can find a good spot to tell a story about the castle. Now, we often tell stories about the castle that aren't exactly true. There's a lot of really fun ones that people have told over the years. And I'm not sure how many of the true facts of the castle are left in those stories anymore. And so we actually have, you can see behind me, a newspaper clipping from 1987 with some photos that go along with it, showing the castle pretty much the way it looks today, with the whole story, with everything that we know, which still isn't a lot, but more of the story about the castle. You can tell that we're on a very scenic spot. You can imagine, we're on this steep area. The side of the castle we have to be extra careful on. And there's all these trees that have grown up, but if you can imagine, in 1927, when I build castle, that this had a really good view of the mountains and the Adirondacks beyond it. So, let me check my notes to make sure I have this right. So, it's the Crocker family. And Dr. Crocker, specifically, was the man who decided that this spot was perfect for the kind of building project that he had in mind. Dr. Crocker sounds like a fake name, but it's not. Trust me. So Dr. Crocker was a really rich, like Rockefeller rich level guy who decided that he wanted to jump on the trend of building a place for people to do something with wellness and getting healthy in the Adirondacks. That was very popular at the time. This belief that being in fresh air and being in the woods all by itself that had healing properties. And so what he cared about was building something to help people recover from alcoholism. So he started building a few smaller houses, and one big one that even back then, in the 20s, people started calling the castle because of how much of it was, built of stone and how impressive it was up on a hill. The castle, from this article that we have from the 80s anyway, the other houses started being filled with a handful of people from the city and other places who wanted to recover from alcoholism. But the castle was never used. Nobody had had the chance to live there. No one had had the chance to, be inside this really cool building that Dr. Crocker had been working on when it burned. And that's something that is in a lot of the stories that we do tell about the castle, is that the castle burned. And the truth is, we don't know why. In reality, no one knows why the castle burned down. And so that is the kernel of truth that makes place for stories, is that we truly can just sort of make up what we think might have happened, because, it burned in 1941, I believe. Let me check. And the science behind checking on how fire started wasn't exactly what it is today back then. People had bigger fish to fry. And so we don't know if it was lightning. That's a popular theory. Out on top of a hill like this is a good chance that it may have been struck by lightning. Or if it was something a little bit more frightening or exciting, like someone set it on fire, or there was some sort of dramatic occurrence. But it burned. No one was living there when it burned. No one was hurt. But all of the beautiful stonework that Dr. Crocker had created, or had people build, is all that's left. And after the fire, I only used the other buildings that much for very much longer, even though they had some patients up there, using the Adirondack air and all that. They didn't have time for it anymore. The big project was over, and so it got sold off to others, including to the Tuckers, who own the castle today. So that is the true story of the castle. But we do tell plenty of other fun stories that are very much a part of the Skye Farm tradition of the castle. But it is cool that we do know the real people who were involved with the history of this very cool thing that we get to have as part of our camp, only a half-mile away. So I'm going to head back down. I hope you enjoyed hiking up to the castle with me, and I hope that we get back to a world where we can all come to camp and have, leaves full of green trees and lots of healthy people able to all hike up to the castle and tell stories about it together. So we're praying for you all out there, all of our Skye Farm family, Skye fam, that we're going to make it through this together, and we'll see you all back at camp as soon as we can. All right, have a good day, everybody.